Another film that I had never seen before, didn't grow up with, and yet came onto my radar was The Rocketeer. I thought it was an interesting idea, never heard of it. It's based on a comic book, so I watched it. Disney film came out in '91. It's a period piece about a stunt pilot who finds a jetpack, is trying to return it to the original owners while becoming a superhero and trying to prevent it from ending up in Nazi hands. It's a well-written film. It has a distinctive style. I like period pieces. Has a lot of talent in it, a lot of talented actors. But watching it, as well written as the story was and as interesting as the story itself was, I could see why it didn't quite take off. Pun intended, I'm gonna own that. Something about the characters felt a little bland. They were fine. By all means, they did their jobs well, and the actors are all very talented, but something, I can't quite put my finger on it, but there was something a little generic about these characters, and they could have used a little more specificity, a little more punch, a little more energy, and that would have made me care more, that would have made me more invested. They felt generic, bland, could have used just a little more punching up, a little more specificity, just a little bit more distinctiveness, a little more, I don't even want to say quirk, but a little more energy, and a little more, don't even want to say development because the story is there, but there is something about these characters that I don't get nearly that invested in. It's good, but it's not, wow, great. Even though there is the setup for it to be really great, and there is a good story here, and these are talented actors, I'm not really sure what it was. Maybe it was the direction. Maybe it wasn't the writing, because again, how the story is put together is really well done. But the characters could have used a little bit more, I guess, originality, a little more flair. But I was invested enough. I got through it fine. It was a fun adventure. There was a lot of imagination in it. I do appreciate practical effects. The idea was genuinely intriguing. Jetpacks are always cool. And I probably would have liked this as a kid, but I wouldn't have remembered it. There's not really too much to say about it. It's very straightforward. If you like these kinds of stories, great. If you like the comics, from what I gather, it matches the comics pretty well. So that's great that it's a faithful adaptation. But for me personally, it's one I'm glad I watched once, but not one I particularly need to revisit. It's straightforward. It's a fun adventure. And that's all it really is. At least to me. Maybe you guys felt differently. Maybe it's different if you grew up with it, or if you have a particular, if you like following any of the actors' work. It's good.